tradition, an annual escape we'd been doing since our college years, a ritual we clung to, a break from the dull rhythm of our everyday lives. This year, the 5 of us, Ethan, Mark, Sarah, Jordan, and Claire, set out on a secluded trail somewhere deep in the Pacific Northwest, a place almost untouched, wild, silent, and wrapped in mystery. Our friendship, shaped in our younger years and solidified through everything we'd survived together, felt unbreakable. We stepped into the forest with light hearts and high spirits. The first day unfolded exactly how we hoped. Laughing, joking, hearing the leaves crunch beneath our boots like a rhythm that set us free. As twilight lowered itself over the trees, we set up camp. Above us, the sky glowed in burning orange and soft purple, like a painting slowly fading into night. The air felt warm, alive, filled with stories and shared memories. But as the darkness grew deeper, something changed. A stillness crept in, a silence so heavy it pressed against our bones, like the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting. The next morning, we found a trail we didn't recognize. It wasn't on any of our maps. It seemed to appear out of nowhere, as if the woods whispered it into existence. Curiosity outweighed caution. We followed that twisting, narrow path, moving deeper into the forest than any of us had ever dared to go. And that's when we found it, a hidden village. It was tucked beneath a thick canopy, shielded by towering ancient trees. We only noticed it once we were standing right at the edge, as if it didn't want to be seen. The moment the villagers spotted us, the air changed. It thickened, charged with something unsettling. Eyes watched us from dark corners. Whispers stopped mid-sentence. Faces twisted with worry and fear. A man stepped forward, tall, stern, his presence dominating the silence. He introduced himself later as Elias, but in that first moment, all he said was, "You shouldn't be here." His voice wasn't angry, but filled with warning. We tried to explain we were just hikers, that we meant no harm. But something in their expressions didn't soften. When we turned to leave, the path we'd taken was gone, changed, twisted, unfamiliar. Panic rushed through me, raw and sharp. Before we knew it, the villagers surrounded us. Not hurting us, just directing us, guiding us deeper into the village until we reached the center. There, Elias made his role clear. He was their leader. And he didn't just see us as unwelcome, he saw us as a threat. That night, as darkness swallowed the treetops, they locked us inside a tiny hut. The windows were barred, the door locked from the outside. Reality settled like ice in our stomachs. We weren't guests, we were prisoners, cut off from the world. The days that followed blurred together. Villagers watched us constantly. Every meal they brought felt heavy with unspoken tension. Eventually, we learned why. This community had lived in isolation for generations, completely severed from the outside world. To them, outsiders weren't just strangers, they were a danger. Any discovery of their existence could destroy everything they guarded. Our attempts to reason with them failed. Elias had the entire village unified under one belief. We were a threat to the only life they'd ever known. Stripped of our phones and gear, we had no way to contact anyone. Every plea was dismissed. Every hope of being found vanished. But slowly, watching their routines, their patterns, their guard rotations, we formed a plan. Escape. Not a hope anymore, a necessity. On the night of a new moon, we took our chance. Sarah, nimble and determined, had spent days weakening one of the window bars. With quiet, trembling hands, she pulled it loose. One by one, we slipped out into the dark. The forest no longer felt peaceful. It felt alive, watching, listening. Even the smallest snap of a twig echoed like thunder under our feet. We moved fast, guided only by faint moonlight and raw survival instinct. And for a moment, we thought we'd done it. But then came the realization. We were not alone. Elias had anticipated us. Shadows appeared between the trees, villagers, moving with calm precision, not attacking, just cutting off every escape route. Every path turned us around. Every direction led back to the same place. The forest itself belonged to them, and it refused to let us go. We reached a cliff, a steep gorge yawning beneath us. The ground crumbled near the edge, threatening to give way. The villagers approached, not rushing, not shouting, just closing in. Elias stepped forward, moonlight catching the sharp lines of his face. "Leaving isn't possible," he said softly. "Not because we want to harm you, but because you now carry our secret. A secret too heavy for the outside world." The Kenshin held the air together like a wire, until suddenly it snapped. A young woman stepped out from the group. Her eyes had followed us for days, with something unfamiliar. "Empathy, there's another way," she whispered. She walked toward us slowly, then pointed to a narrow, hidden trail concealed by thick undergrowth along the edge of the gorge. A trail only someone from inside the village would know. The villagers never noticed her slip away from the group. Quietly, with the eyes of someone torn between fear and courage, she whispered, "Follow this path. It will take you to freedom. But listen carefully. You must never return, for your safety and for ours." Her warning hung heavy in the air. The trail she revealed was barely a path at all, just a tight corridor of roots, thorns, and tangled branches. It was clear the villagers had kept it hidden for generations. Every step scraped our skin, ripped our clothes, and reminded us how badly they wanted to remain undiscovered. At last, dawn broke. Light speared through the canopy in thin golden shards, and slowly, the suffocating density of the forest fell away. We stepped out into open land, exhausted, shaken, but alive. The rising sun washed over us like a promise. Its warmth felt unreal, almost blinding after the darkness we'd endured. The world beyond the forest looked louder, brighter, more chaotic, like a place we had briefly forgotten ever existed. When we returned to civilization, people didn't know what to make of our story. Their questions came fast, yet our answers felt incomplete, even to us. The forest and that hidden community became a chapter we spoke about only in hushed tones. A secret we all shared, and a weight we all carried. What began as a search for adventure had turned into a brutal lesson, a reminder that some places are hidden for a reason, and some boundaries should never be crossed. Moving into my first apartment felt like a dream finally coming true. Top floor, huge windows, sunlight everywhere. Right in the heart of the city, alive, buzzing, full of energy. Even with the noise below, the constant hum of city life felt strangely comforting, like the world was close, but not close enough to disturb me. As I unpacked and settled into my new routines, that sense of independence washed over me. Exciting, liberating, a little overwhelming. The first few weeks flew by. I explored my neighborhood, quiet coffee shops, small bookstores, peaceful parks where I could read or just think. Every time I came home, the apartment felt like a personal refuge. Safe, calm, mine. At least that's how it felt until the envelope arrived. One ordinary Thursday, I was sorting through a stack of boring mail when I saw it. A plain white envelope with nothing on it but my name, written in a delicate, almost elegant handwriting. No return address. ... Curious, I opened it. The message inside froze me. I've been watching you. You look so peaceful in your new home. At first, I tried to laugh it off. Maybe a bad joke from someone trying to scare me. But the laughter didn't come. Only silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. That night, I locked every door and window, something I'd never felt the need to do in my secure high-rise building. A week passed. Nothing else happened. For a moment, I let myself believe the letter was just a one-time scare. Then came the package. No return address, same handwriting. Inside were photos of me, taken at random moments, walking to the elevator, checking my mail, drinking coffee by the window. Someone had been watching me, closely, constantly. My home, my sanctuary. Letters kept coming. Packages too, each one more personal than the last. A silent observer was studying every part of my life. I stopped inviting friends over. The fear of putting them in danger was too much. I felt myself becoming smaller, frightened of my own space, my own reflection, my own nights. Then the worst night of all arrived. I came home and immediately sensed it. Something was wrong. The air in the apartment felt different, colder, heavy. Then I saw it, a shadow beneath my bedroom door. Someone was inside. My pulse slammed in my ears, my legs locked. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I was trapped inside my own nightmare. Somehow, I found the strength to move. I slipped quietly into the bathroom, the only other room with a lock, and shut the door. Hands shaking, breath shallow, I dialed 911. My whisper felt like it could shatter the air. When the police finally burst in, they found the front door unlocked. Whoever had been inside was gone. All that remained was a single letter on my bed. Same handwriting. I was so close to you. A taunt, a promise, a threat. Days blurred into interviews, new locks, sleepless nights. I stopped staying at my apartment altogether. Friends' couches became my only refuge. The police tried to help, but without evidence or a suspect, there was little they could do. My stalker left no fingerprints, no clues, nothing but a growing terror that wrapped itself around my life. Eventually, fear turned into determination. I bought security cameras and installed them throughout the apartment. And that's when I finally saw the truth. The footage captured him. A dark figure moving through my home with slow, practiced calm. A presence I had felt but never seen. He walked up to one of the cameras and turned his covered face directly toward it. The mask hid his identity, but something else didn't. The build, the posture, the way he moved. My blood ran cold. I used to pass him in the hallway with a smile, a friendly nod, a casual greeting. all while unknowingly acknowledging the man who had been tormenting me. When the truth came out, something inside me broke. My trust in people, my belief in community, the comfort I'd always found in familiar faces. With the police standing beside me, I confronted him, the neighbor who lived just 2 floors below. He confessed almost casually. An obsession, he said. One that had spiraled so far out of control, it consumed every part of my life. His apartment was a nightmare. Walls covered with photos of me, notes about me, pages filled with fantasies of a relationship that never existed, a shrine built by a mind that had fractured long before I ever moved in. I left the city soon after, left the apartment, left behind the illusion of safety that had been. But the trauma followed me, a shadow that moved when I moved, a whisper in the quiet moments. The next place I lived became my fortress, brick by brick, lock by lock, as I tried to rebuild myself in a world that suddenly felt full of unseen threats. Yet somehow, the ordeal taught me something. The human beings carry a resilience deeper than fear, that even in the darkest corners of our lives, we can crawl back toward the light. And it taught me that monsters rarely look like monsters. Sometimes they wear the faces of the people passing you in the hallway. My story is one of survival, of reclaiming the peace stolen from me, and a reminder that danger doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the last place you'd ever expect. The first hint of what was happening in Eldridge appeared in a tiny newspaper column, easy to miss, buried under louder headlines. 3 people had vanished in less than a month. From a town so small and remote, it barely showed up on modern maps. As a journalist, the details intrigued me. It sounded like a strong lead for the magazine I wrote for. I had no idea I was stepping into something far darker than a simple missing person story. Eldridge was quiet, too quiet. A silence that felt intentional, as if even the wind didn't want to draw attention. The townspeople avoided eye contact. They shut down whenever I brought up the disappearances. Fear lived behind their eyes, but I didn't yet know what they were afraid of. Everything changed when I met Mrs. Weaver, the town librarian, a woman who'd lived in Eldridge her entire life. Over a cup of coffee that tasted like it had been reheated for days, she finally talked. She told me about an old military base, abandoned since the Cold War, a place the government walked away from. But somebody else didn't. A cult calling themselves the Order of the True Light had moved in. A group obsessed with purifying humanity by cutting themselves off from the corruption of the outside world. Driven by curiosity and a growing sense of dread, I went there. The closer I got, the quieter everything became, until all I could hear was the crunch of my footsteps on the old concrete. The place was a ghost city of decaying buildings and runways devoured by weeds. But the partially open door to an underground bunker drew me in. Inside, it felt like stepping back in time. Musty air, dust dancing in my flashlight beam, Cold War propaganda peeling from the walls. But it was the living quarters that chilled me most. Personal items abandoned midlife. Children's drawings, still tape. Eventually, I found a large room, chairs arranged toward a crude altar, and a book filled with the ravings of a doomsday fanatic. Then, whispers. They led me to a locked door. Behind it were the missing townspeople, alive but hollow, eyes wide, voices trembling. They'd been kidnapped by the cult, told the outside world had ended, told they were the chosen ones. But when the cult suddenly vanished, they were left behind, forgotten, trapped underground. I led them out into daylight, the first sunlight they'd seen in months. The story I published blew the case wide open, triggering a nationwide investigation into the Order of the True Light. Eldridge began to heal, slowly, painfully, but the darkness of that bunker stayed with me. The survivors, shattered yet trying to rebuild, reminded me how dangerously belief can twist into madness. This wasn't just a story about missing people or a cult. It was about the thin line between faith and